Welcome live from the thyssenkrupp nucera booth here at the European Hydrogen Week in Brussels. My name is Anna and I'm happy to host our expert pitches on hot topics and frequently asked questions around green hydrogen. This is a live webcast, so feel free to leave your thoughts and your questions in the comment section below, as we will have a Q&A section shortly after each pitch. And of course, to our audience here live with us in Brussels at our booth, feel free to hold on to your questions as well until our short Q&A session after each pitch. And I would say, without further ado, let's start with our first pitch on hydrogen technology standardization and certification, and give a warm welcome to our Head of Quality Management, Hubertus Rosenow. Hubertus has been our Head of Quality Management since December last year, and he is also an experienced sales and operations executive in renewable energies and green hydrogen. Welcome, Hubertus. I don't want to talk anymore. The stage is yours, and let's start with your pitch on standardization and certification. Go ahead.
Thank you, Anna. And I would like to tell you about 4 success factors today. The success factors that will help enable us to roll out the green hydrogen business to Europe and the world. So this is about product, this is about processes, about standardization, and as well certification. And as you may imagine, those 4 dimensions are interlinked and form hopefully a consistent framework. So let's talk about the product first. We have a standard cell design. We have modular stacks that can be transported to site in a pre-tested, prefabricated manner, and then that are assembled quickly and interconnected to form our core product, which is the 20 megawatt electrolyzer unit. So this is basically the core product that will form the basis for scaling up the plant capacity for industrial applications. Secondly, we go to the processes. And the processes, of course, come from our thyssenkrupp heritage. We have established internal standards and best practices that help us to execute on EPC projects, engineering, procurement, construction, as well as EPF, engineering, procurement, and fabrication. Fabrication, that's the key here. That needs to be made serial production ready. And therefore, we're doing global capacity planning for the cells, but also we're ramping up the module yards in various locations to ensure that our supply chain is mature and that it can already today deliver capacities for more than 1 gigawatt per year. And the aim is to go beyond 5 in a few years. In addition to that, we're also working on our internal digital processes, implementing state-of-the-art PLM software and ERP systems to unify the tool landscape that we're working with to make our product and to build the next generation of the product. Third success factor is an integrated and sustainable management system, basically consisting of 4 pillars: quality, ISO 9001, then environment 45001, health and safety 14001, and in addition to that also energy management, which is 50001. We are being certified as a company in these systems, and we of course want to make an holistic, sound framework to rolling out the business. That comes along with our sustainability and ESG roadmap. Sustainability in terms of supply chain due diligence, and also ESG. We look at risk management from a holistic perspective, ESG risks included in that assessments. And of course, we align our reporting to EU taxonomy, and also probably the most common global standard, which is the UN Global Compact. We are committed to delivering on the Sustainable Development Goals. 17 are there, but Sustainable Development Goal number 7, the affordable and clean energy, is probably the most prominent that we will have in focus. And then lastly, the product safety and integrity. We have engaged with TÜV Rheinland to basically assess our design, our manufacturing processes, and our type testing, and to validate that this is all in accordance with the ISO standard 22734. And while ensuring that this is in accordance to that standard, we are also believing that this will help to accelerate final investment decision making, ease financing decisions or support them, and then also accelerate permitting and approval process for the operators. Yeah, this slide sums it up. 4 key messages, and yeah, this is so far.
Hubertus, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hubertus, for sharing your insights with us. Very interesting. And actually, I do already have our first question from the live chat. Could you just elaborate a little bit on the benefits and maybe also the challenges of certifications and standardization of technology on an international level versus maybe a local level?
Right. So the ISO standard is there. It's valid and in place since 2019, first edition. But of course, it's an evolving standard. And for us, the challenge is that actually, at least to my knowledge, nobody has really certified a product yet according to that standard. So we are basically embarking on this journey with a certifying body, and we are aiming at getting accreditation for that, and this is underway. So we're learning as we go along, but of course we know what's in the standard, and our design and engineering teams, they are, let's say, extracting those requirements, international requirements, but also local requirements from the US, from Australia, from other regions in the world, to then build the product accordingly and configure it according to the local content requirements.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions from our audience that are live here with us in Brussels today? All right. Hubertus, I do have one last question for you. As you know, our leading purpose at thyssenkrupp nucera is that we shape the new era. And what is the word that comes to your mind when thinking of the new era?
Of course, it's thyssenkrupp nucera. And then I have the 4 keywords that are here in the little fortune teller. But on the way here to the conference hall, I saw the password for the login, and it's hydrogen now. So that's, I guess, the word of my little pitch here.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Well said, Hubertus. Thank you for sharing your insights with us. If you have any further questions, the live chat is still open, so feel free to ask them. And for those of you who are here with us, Hubertus will also still be around at our booth. And then I would say we will be back in a few minutes with our next pitch on industrial applications. See you in a few seconds. All right, welcome back. with our thyssenkrupp nucera expert pitches live here at the European Hydrogen Week in Brussels. Our next pitch is about industrial applications, and I'm very happy that I'm here with Paul, who's our head of business development. So welcome, Paul. Paul is a fourth-generation engineer and has over 30 years of experience in plant engineering. And he's originally from Toronto, but has been living in Germany for 14 years already. And Paul, without further ado, I would say please take over and start with your pitch on industrial applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Anna. So we're going to talk about where we are in the hydrogen economy today, where we're going, and where the changes are going to be in the next couple of years. So as of 2020, we're looking at a currently installed capacity of 950 gigawatt of hydrogen. This is fossil fuel driven hydrogen, so what we now know as gray hydrogen. Where is this being used? It is being used primarily in industrial applications. So 94% of all of the hydrogen used today is in refining, in ammonia feedstock, in methanol feedstock. Only 6% is used in other sources. Out of that 950 gigawatt capacity, green hydrogen makes up at best a gigawatt, okay? The other element here we need to consider, that 94%, that 950 gigawatt is creating 24% of the globe's current CO2 emissions. So if we're looking at climate change, if we're looking at net zero by 2030, 2040, 2050, this is something else we need to consider and reduce. Looking at the years ahead, by 2050, we're expecting a 7-fold growth in hydrogen consumption. Okay, we're not going to have the natural gas available. We may have it, but at what cost? So we're going to see where that's going to be to meet the 5,500 gigawatt level we're looking at. Now, as you can see, the portfolio has changed. It's no longer 94% industrial use. We're seeing power enter the picture. We're seeing mobility at 43%. Hydrogen as a feedstock is now dropping to 30%. Okay. Belgium recently announced their hydrogen roadmap for 2022 and beyond. Their focus is on mobility and heavy industry, building hydrogen hubs, hydrogen valleys. So these are the things we need to look ahead. So quick and easy changes. Where can we use green hydrogen? One, in refining. The EU is going to change regulations that are going to require existing refineries to increase the amount of green hydrogen that they're using. So either for anywhere in the refining process. This means either locally produced green hydrogen on site or imported via pipeline or other means. So a perfect example here is the Shell Rotterdam project, which was the FID was announced earlier this summer. Nucera is providing 200 megawatt of electrolyzer capacity for that project. The other quick change is as a feedstock for ammonia. Okay, right now Air Products is developing the NEOM project in Saudi. Here again, Nucera is going to provide over 2 gigawatts of electrolyzers for that project. There's another level of harder to abate usage of nat gas, and also where decarbonization is becoming a critical factor going forward. So we've got aviation, we've got shipping. Okay, steel uses a lot of natural gas right now. So companies like TK Steel, Tata, ArcelorMittal are looking at other options. So green hydrogen is a good option for feeding the blast furnaces. Okay, there's also the decarbonization element here. It could also be that green ammonia is imported from the UAE, from Saudi, from Australia, and elsewhere to provide that green hydrogen that's going to be used. We take a look at shipping. Okay, Maersk has already made a commitment. They've placed orders on methanol-fueled cargo vessels. Okay, Maersk goes down this road. They're saying, look, we want green methanol. Green methanol is going to come from green hydrogen. So you think about how much fuel is used globally just by a company like Maersk. That's going to grow elsewhere. So we're going to need to build additional green hydrogen capacity to provide green methanol globally. Of course, there's going to be other sectors. Okay, power was mentioned. Okay, so we can use green hydrogen as a fuel for power. There are companies now that are working on hydrogen furnaces and boilers for home use. Okay, mobility we've talked about. I mentioned earlier, 43% will go to mobility. There's a hydrogen bus that was driving people back and forth here in the last days. Okay, there are bus fleets within Europe that are switching over to hydrogen. To the left and to the right of us, you'll see large trucks. So here again, long-haul trucking will be a major user in the future. Looking at autos, here again, Hyundai has been building hydrogen fuel autos since at least 2015. The major German auto companies are moving in that direction as well. One other item to note here is the construction industry. Okay, cement uses a lot of natural gas, produces a lot of CO2. So we're talking to companies about using green hydrogen as an alternative fuel source for their clinkers. And in parallel, looking at construction vehicles, that's another possibility where we can look at using green hydrogen. Okay. According to Carbon Tracker, since February of this year, over $73 billion worth of public and private funding has been announced for green hydrogen production. Okay, within the green hydrogen community, that's great for us to hear that there's projects out there, but what we need and what we need to emphasize that we need to start having commitments, financial investment decisions made to move these projects forward. Okay, talk to any electrolyzer manufacturer here today. Manufacturing capacity is going to be an issue going forward. We need the commitment from the end users to expand our capacity and the supply chain capacity. And I'll go back to one point here that Hubertus mentioned earlier. It's on standardization. Okay, the industry as a whole, okay, looking at players coming from oil and gas, they're used to custom engineering everything, be it reactors, compressors, etc. For green hydrogen to be successful, to reduce CapEx, to reduce OpEx, and to be on stream quickly, we need to have standardized products. Okay, we're working to that level. We need to move away from custom engineering everything. So with that in mind, I open the floor to questions. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Paul, for sharing your insights with us about industrial applications. I already have a question for you from our live viewers online. So what is the project size that thyssenkrupp nucera is envisioning in the future? Can we really deliver gigawatt projects?
Yes, I mean, the question, of course, is yes. I mean, right now we're working off a standard 20 megawatt module that will upscale. Okay, so I mentioned the Shell Rotterdam project earlier, 200 megawatts, that's going to be 10 standard modules. We look at NEOM, 2 gigawatts plus, that's over 100 modules. Maybe in the future, we're going to have to start looking at larger scale, whether it means 100 megawatt, 150 megawatt modules, that remains to be seen. But right now, we've got a standard project that can be shipped easily via standard trucks inland. So from our standpoint, we need to, we're looking at utility and industrial scale projects. Okay, then that's where we're a good fit.
Right, and that's why the importance of the commitment is also a huge factor, right?
Correct. I mean, here again, we need the commitment from the green hydrogen off-takers, the users, et cetera. Okay, we've got to grow. Our supply chain has got to grow. We need the financial commitment to move these projects forward so we can expand overall global capacity.
All right, great. Let's maybe turn to our audience here with us in Brussels. Do you have any questions for Paul? All right, then let's maybe come back to one more question from our audience online. You talked about focus applications. How do you think this will change or maybe develop within the next 5 to 10 years?
I mean, I think that's going to vary from location to location, okay? I mentioned the change in refineries. Okay, so Europe is going to say you need to use green hydrogen. Okay, right now we've got an ammonia shortage within Europe. Okay, so here again, green hydrogen can be an alternate feedstock. There's companies or countries that are starting to build larger wind farms. Okay, it's within Europe. Okay, we can look at hydropower in northern Norway. Okay, we've got all the solar capacity within the Middle East and Northern Africa that we can look at. So it may change the location of some of these facilities going forward, but the end product still has to be there.
Okay, well, thank you so much again, Paul, for your insights on industrial applications and hydrogen. Time for our last question, same as the one to Hubertus. When you think of the new era, what is the word that comes to your mind?
Having come out of the oil and gas and LNG industry, right now, really the word is dynamic. Okay, when I joined nucera, I knew the hydrogen market was growing. It was an active, dynamic market. I didn't expect it would be this active, so I'm glad to be part of it.
All right, well said, Paul. Thank you so much again. Thank you to all of you who asked questions. If you have questions later on, feel free to still ask them in our live chat. To our audience, feel free to drop by our booth. Again, Paul will still be here. You can chat with him if you like. And we will be back in a few seconds with our last pitch on the AWE proof points. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Welcome back to our thyssenkrupp nucera expert pitches live here from the European Hydrogen Week in Brussels. I'm here with Ulf Bäumer, our head of service and innovation center at thyssenkrupp nucera, who will give our last pitch about alkaline water electrolysis technology proof points, which is the technology that we are using at thyssenkrupp nucera. And Ulf has over 15 years of experience in the chloralkali electrolysis. And today I'm glad that he is talking about the AWE technology proof points. So Ulf, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Yeah, welcome to my talk about the proof points of thyssenkrupp nucera's alkaline water electrolysis technology. And yeah, what we all do at the moment is we change the industry. So we change from a fossil-based industry into an industry which is renewable-based. We heard from Paul one talk before that even if we exchange only the gray hydrogen which we produce today, we are already at 1 terawatt of electrolysis capacity. So having that in mind, of course, you can start small, but the question is, do we have the time for that? And this talk is about why we are convinced what are our proof points that we can deliver water electrolysis on a large scale, which is the need of the hour, which we need to stop the climate change. So this is based on our chloralkali heritage, what I wanted to tell you today. So we are building electrolysis plants, let's say, for membrane cells since the beginning of the 80s. We have delivered around 600 projects worldwide with around 240,000 cells, and that is the basis on which we built our AWE water technology cells, and that is why we are convinced that we also here can become number one in that technology. We have already now a supply chain of 1 gigawatt, which is ready there, and which is there to be used for water electrolysis, but this will also be extended to 5 gigawatt in the future. We are in chloralkali industry technology leader. We have a market share of around 50%, and we're handling here hydrogen as a byproduct. So that knowledge and this experience we utilize to handle hydrogen then as a main product, which from process point of view is the same if you use it as a byproduct or as a main product, and to have the best TCO in the market for the water electrolysis cells. Last but not least, I would like to mention that as we operate, or as our customers operate around 600 plants worldwide, we have also a global reach service organization worldwide. So we do not only sell our electrolysis plant, but we take care of them, so for the whole life cycle. So that is also what we will do for our water electrolysis plant and for our water electrolysis customers. So to take care that these plants not only are erected as they should do, but they are also operated like in the business plan. So coming to the technology, what you see here on the left-hand side, that is basically the water electrolysis cell, which is adapted from our chloralkali experience. That is the so-called single element. This one has, of course, anode side and cathode side, as you would expect. This has the inlet distributor at the bottom side. At the top side, you see a gas and liquid separation. You can imagine this with all this gas, which is produced in a cell. You would need to separate this into liquid and gas, so you don't pump just foam around. And that is a highly durable cell, which we operate since decades for chlor-alkali cells. This is a high proven performance, also proven over decades with our customer sites, and that is what is adapted to the water electrolysis, and which is proven. If you take 300 of these cells, and one cell has around between 60 and 70 kilowatt of power, you come to our 20 megawatt module. Hubertus just explained that we have put a high effort in the standardization of our product. So this 20 megawatt module is our standardized module we produce, you can buy. And if you want to higher plant capacities like several hundreds of megawatts or even gigawatts, you will do a multiple of this 20 megawatt module to reach the capacity you need. So scaling up is a big topic. So for us, it's more a numbering up of a proven, long-term proven design, which will then bring to the capacity our customer needs. Yeah, how will it come to your site? So going back again to standardization, this 20 megawatt module, we have split this up into roughly a bit less than 20 skids. So that will be in a kind of a serial production produced at our sites or with our partners. So one looks like the other, and when these skids arrive at site, you can bring them together. Of course, you have to connect piping, cablings, and so on. But in principle, that's just the final assembly which will be happen at your site, and then you can start to operate it. You can see on the picture, this is the 20 megawatt as said. You can see the process section here on the right-hand side, where is, let's say, kind of gas cleaning and recondensation of the water. And of course, the biggest section is where the electrolysis cell are. Okay, that was it about my talk about the proof points of our technology for large-scale water electrolysis, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Ulf, for sharing your insights on the proof points of the alkaline water electrolysis technology. And our audience is very quick. We already have our first question from the live chat. They want to know what is the difference or also the similarities compared to the chlor-alkali cells.
Yeah, no, that is a good question. In principle, you have the anodic side, which is no longer titanium as for chlor-alkali, but nickel, but the design is very much the same. And the separator, instead of an ion exchange membrane, is a separator, so it's a diaphragm. But that's already it. So the rest is quite similar. And as you know, in chlor-alkali, on the cathodic side, you also produce hydrogen. And so the reaction we know already since decades there, and yeah.
Great, thank you. Very interesting. Do we have any questions from our audience here in Brussels? All right, then I would like to get back to one more question from our live chat online. They want to know what is the lifetime of the module cells?
The lifetime, sorry, of the module cells?
Yes.
So of a single element, in principle, we operate them, our customers operate them from chlor-alkali again, up to 30 years, between 20 and 30 years. And having in mind that chlor-alkali means you have chloride and chlorine in, so it's even harsher condition, and that is also the lifetime we expect here. So, of course, the customer need to check if after 16, 20 years they want to refurbish these cells and operate further, which is possible, or if they want to go to maybe a new generation of cell and save power. But the answer is between 20 and 30 years, and that is proven.
Okay, thank you so much. And Ulf, you probably guessed it, but I'm going to ask you, what is the word that comes to your mind when thinking about the new era?
Actually, as I said in the beginning, it's building up a new industry. So which we all do, which is not only an effort from us, but from all of us here and all of you at home, of course. And that's, I think, it's the big challenge and the big excitement about all of this.
Yes, thank you very much. Very well said. And yes, co-creation is a very big aspect to us. So thank you so much, Ulf, for sharing your insights and your knowledge. Thank you so much to all of the experts who joined us today. And thank you so much for all of you who tuned in online. Definitely let us know your thoughts and your further questions in the comments down below. And for those that are here with us in Brussels, feel free to visit our booth. Our experts will still be here for the rest of the day to answer your questions. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and on LinkedIn, and let's shape the new era together. Thank you so much and goodbye.
Thank you very much.